Codominance is the second inheritance pattern that we've taken a look at. So far, the only inheritance pattern we had been studying was dominance and recessiveness, but we'll take a look at codominance. Now, codominance is the inheritance pattern of this particular trait is that neither allele is dominant. So, in codominance, both alleles are expressed in the heterozygous individual. This results in getting a third phenotype when you have a heterozygous individual. Instead of having two phenotypes like we've had in dominance and recessiveness, you had the dominant phenotype and the recessive phenotype. Here you have two alleles, and one allele codes for one trait, one allele codes for the other, but when you have heterozygous, you get this third expression because you get a blend as both alleles get expressed. So let's show you what we mean by this, and we'll use one of the traits from the Marshmallow Critter Lab because we had two traits in that lab that actually expressed themselves as codominance. You had the ear color and you had the back bumps. So let's take a look at back bumps. So since the critter could have back bumps, we have two alleles. We'll use the B for back bump. And since both are dominant, we use two capital B's. But in order to distinguish the allele that coded for two back bumps and the allele that codes for no back bumps, we would use a superscript. So maybe what I'll do here is do a B with a T for two and a BN for no back bumps. And so you can have three possible genotypes just like you would. I could have an individual that is BT, BT, and that individual would have two back bumps. I could have an individual that is BN, N, and that individual has no back bumps. And the only other option is, what if we have something that's heterozygous? We have a BT, BN situation. Well, we don't get one with two, and we don't have one with none. Since both, we get the expression of having one back bump. And this is the third phenotype. And since this is one trait that we're going to look at, it's still a monohybrid cross. So let's try something. Let's say I have an individual that has two back bumps. So a critter with two back bumps is crossed with a critter that has one back bump. And let's take a look at what the genotype and phenotype ratio outcome is. So for the two back bump critter, if we look, we've already taken care of step one here. We've determined our alleles. Step two, parent genotypes. The two back bumps is going to be BT, BT. The one back bump, BT, BN. Next, we got to figure out the gametes. Well, this parent, since it only has BT, can only give a B with a D. And this one, when this chromosome splits during meiosis, you're going to get the possibility of having a gamete with a BT and a gamete that has a BN. So when I go and build my Punnett Square, I put one parent across the top, just like what I've always done. The other parent goes down the side, and you use that to help you build your square. So I have BT, 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 BN. So when I look, my genotype ratio, I get 50% BT, BT to 50% BT, BN. For my phenotype ratio, I am going to get 50% two bumps to 50% one bump. Okay, and that's how it ends up working. So one of the things to remember is, how can you tell when you have a codominant situation? Okay, a couple of things to look at and to look for. You know that the problem, you should treat it as a codominant problem. Look at how the alleles are written. If they're written with both being capital, with that superscript letter, that's a key indicator that you're dealing with codominance. If you're not given any alleles, okay, the second thing would be, and the question you can ask yourself is, are there 3 phenotypes? If there are 3 phenotypes, in the case of, obviously, in terms of 3 phenotypes, we're talking about traits, not blood type. Okay, blood type is not part of this, because in that case we have 4 phenotypes. Are there 3 phenotypes? If there are 3 phenotypes, if your answer is yes, then you have codominance. Treat it that way. Okay, so hope this helps, and you can continue to practice as much as you can on these. You'll see a bunch of others going over all the types of crosses that we've had this far. Have a great night, guys.